Good morning, children. Today I am going to teach you figures of speech. What is figures of speech? It is a figurative language. Figurative language means which is used to beautify the language. Now, we all are beautiful, created by God, correct? But still we approach beauty parlor. For what purpose? We want to be more beautiful. So, in order to give more beauty to the language, we use certain techniques which are known as figures of speech. And mostly, figures of speech is used by the writers. Now, there are different figures of speech like alliteration, repetition, simile, metaphor, personification, and so on. So, each one we are going to learn in detail. First one, I would like to teach alliteration. Alliteration means repetition of sound. Don't say repetition of alphabet, don't say repetition of letter. That is wrong. It is the repetition of sound. For example, if I say she sells seashells by the seashore. Here on the screen you can see that example. Sally sells seashells by the seashore. So when you get a particular line, what you have to see? You have to see the sound. So you have to utter that words, pronounce that and see whether the sounds are repeated. So if any sound is repeated in a particular line, it is called alliteration. So in the given line you can see the sound S, don't say S. When you say S, it is alphabet. The sound S and Sh is repeated. It is called alliteration. More examples you can see on the screen. Second one, repetition. Alliteration, what I told you, it is the repetition of sound. Whereas repetition means it is the repetition of certain words. You can see in the box an example is given for repetition. I looked upon the rotting sea and drew my eyes away. I looked upon the rotting deck and there the dead men lay. So what are the words? Or is there any word which is repeated? That is what you have to see. Of course, there is a repetition. You can see the pronoun I is repeated. Correct? Looked upon, it is repeated. So it is repetition. So what is repetition? It's a repetition of sound. Repetition of a word. Repetition of sound is alliteration. Next, we are going to see what is personification. Personification is attributing or giving an animated quality to an inanimate object. Animate quality means the living quality, the qualities of a living thing. If we are giving that quality to an inanimate object, that is non-living things, it is called a personification. Look at the example. The moon gazed on my midnight labors, while with unrelaxed and breathless eagerness, I pursued nature to her hiding places. Here, two things are personified. You can see it is highlighted here. One is moon and the other one is nature. How the moon has been personified? The moon has been given the animate quality, living quality of gazing. Gazing means looking. And nature, it is given the pronoun her. That means as if nature is a female. So if a living quality is given to an inanimate object or abstract thing, it is called a personification. Abstract means which is not concrete, which we cannot see, which we cannot touch. Now next is metaphor. Metaphor is a type of comparison. I think before metaphor we should see the other one, that is simile. Simile is also a comparison. Here simile means comparison of two things, where you can clearly see the comparison because in that particular line you can see either the usage of as or like. Look at the examples given on the screen. Life is like a box of chocolates. Have you seen that? So life is compared to a box of chocolates. Now we can go back to metaphor. What is metaphor is? Metaphor is an implied comparison. IMPLIED. Implied comparison. Simile we can see the comparison directly because there is a usage of the word as or like. But metaphor, you cannot see the word as or like, but you have to understand by reading the line properly. You can see on your screen there is a example. The clouds are cotton balls in the sky. So what is compared to what? The clouds are being compared to what? Cotton balls. And why it is compared? It is compared because both are white in color, shapeless and all. But can you see the word as or like? No. But still there is a comparison. It is called implied comparison. Okay. Now, tautology. What is tautology? Tautology means if in the given line there are words which shows similar meaning. Words showing similar meanings are used in a single line. It is called a tautology. For example, here you can see with a star mark I have given the in Rome we saw dilapidated ruins. So here the words dilapidated and ruins have similar meanings. I am not explaining the meaning. For a meaning always you refer a dictionary. That is the best way. Another example is given, that is totally and completely ridiculous. Of course you can clearly understand that the words totally and completely, it has got similar meaning. Next I am going to explain what is antithesis. Antithesis means usage of words having opposite meanings. Words having opposite meanings. Contrast means opposite. Here example, it is always better that you learn figures of speech by learning examples. That means through examples figures of speech can be learned very easily. Here example I have given is, setting foot on the moon may be a small step for a man but a giant step for mankind. Which are the opposite words? The words small and giant. So usage of opposite words in a line is called a antithesis. Next, irony. Irony means the use of words that mean the opposite of what you really think. Okay, it's a little bit difficult thing to understand. For that I'll give you an example. A live example which is very common. Imagine that in your class There is a student who always get 1 or 2 marks or 0 marks in every test. And if the teacher, while handing over the paper, that is your test paper, if she calls that particular child as the genius of the class, that is irony. I think it's clear to you, isn't it? So irony means we think something, but when we try to speak it out, we will say just opposite. Now come to the examples given for irony. The butter is as soft as a marble piece. What is the meaning of that? Is it really soft? No. Then we will never compare it to a marble piece. So the person want to say that the butter is the worst one, which is as hard as marble piece. But when we say as soft as marble piece, the listener clearly understood what the speaker want to say. Oh great, now you have broken my new camera. The person has broken the camera, but he is calling him as great. Again, I have given one more slide for that. Irony is the use of words that mean the opposite of what you really think, especially in order to be funny. More examples for you. This is my brilliant son who failed out of college. He failed, but calling him as brilliant. She is a great singer who sings like a crow. Now the things are clear.